Good morning. My name is Mark Brennan. I'm the Operations Section Chief for the Park Incident. I'm going to give you your daily briefing for August 2nd. For the past 24 hours, we've been in kind of the same mode that we've been in the past number of days. Weather has moderated to the point where we've been able to take a lot of great action, take advantage of that weather opportunity to go direct on our fire, place a lot of direct lines as well as contingency lines, and had a lot of success on the fire. As I've been saying in the past few days, we are moving towards a different weather pattern that is going to be very adverse to our situation regarding fire conditions and creating more intense fire conditions, more hazardous fire conditions. And so we've been preparing for that. We've been planning for that. And now we're going to be putting our plan into action to mitigate that event. Starting late yesterday afternoon in the overnight hours, we did start encountering that increased fire activity and behavior, and I'll talk a little bit about that throughout, and then some of the things that we are doing as part of our plan to help mitigate the spread of the fire. So just go around the fire and explain kind of where we're at. Some of it's been pretty much status quo, and we're having some good successes there. So moving along the west part of the fire, all the way up to where we tie into pretty much Highway 36. That's looking really good overall. A lot of the area we have direct line, good mop up, well over 200 feet in, exactly where we want to be with that. So we're in more of a patrol status, and that's really good news. As we get up to the Highway 36 corridor, again, a lot of good direct line, a lot of improvements being made. And so a lot of success, but there is still some work up there to really get that tied in, make us more comfortable, especially with this weather coming in, because there is still a lot of heat within that interior of the fire, or not too far from the fire line. And what we've seen in the past days, here and there at the tail end of the last heat and dry conditions, was we were seeing a lot of spotting in the afternoon when some of the winds picked up and it got hotter and drier. So we're anticipating that. We have in place a lot of contingency lines, so we have lines to back up to if that were to spot. We also have plans in place with our resources to take and pick up those spot fires. We've prioritized our fire, as we've done for the past number of days, and we will surge our resources throughout the fire. As we work our way back around to the right shoulder of the fire, then we start getting into some more difficult terrain, heavier fuels, a lot of challenges there. And we've been working diligently to getting direct line in. We've had a lot of success in a lot of places, but it's a lot of country, very steep, rugged terrain, and heavy fuels. And with our resources, it's just going to be a long, slow process to achieve our goals and our objectives in that area. As we move down from our branch 12 to 15 and now into 18 into that Mill Creek drainage, that has been one that we've been monitoring and watching for a while. There's been fire deep into that drainage. It's a huge drainage. And it's been one that has had a smoke cover on it, so we've not been able to get air assets in, ground assets. It's just been very difficult terrain to work in, and then very hazardous to just put firefighters down into that deep drainage. So we've been monitoring that through thermal imaging, what the fire activity is. As of late yesterday afternoon and last night, definitely the inversion lifted. We saw increased fire activity in late yesterday afternoon. Not only fire in that drainage, but the Deer Creek drainage. And it's not a small creek, it's a very large drainage. So we saw fire activity increased in that and neighboring smaller drainages. And basically those are perpendicular to Mill Creek for the most part. So they've been running and making runs up into that Mill Creek drainage to the top of the drainage. Fortunately, we've had a contingency line along a vast majority paralleling the Mill Creek drainage. That's given us some options to be able to slow or mitigate some of those runs in those other drainages. However, that work is continuing. It's been challenging those lines all last night and in through the morning. So we're continuing throughout today to work in those areas. A lot of spotting activity throughout the night, and again, without any sort of wind. It's just hotter, drier weather, and as the inversion lifts throughout the day, we're going to see more of that, unfortunately. As we move further down and actually get into the Highway 32 corridor, and down into the different communities that we've had, such as Forest Ranch, and then interior, this little island in here, Cohasset, we've had repopulation over the past few days. So the calls for service have been up quite a bit because we have people in there. They're seeing those various smokes, some of them nuisance smokes, some of them that just been working on time and again, stump holes, just laborious to get those rooted out and mopped up. So we've been taking care of that. Prior to Cohasset repopulation, a lot of work, not only the fire situation and the smokes and the heat pockets, but also to the hazard trees, mitigating those and getting that ready for folks to return. So as we have that repopulation going on, we have resources in there working diligently and interacting with the public to take care of their needs and get them back to some source of sense of reality and normalcy. Same with the bottom of the fire, looking really good. Continue to mop up patrol. Our contingency lines in the Shasta zone, again, that's looking really good, and contingency lines are in place. They continue to improve those, and hopefully we won't have to rely upon them. Tehama zone, large contingency lines currently under construction and being developed. A lot of work, a lot of country, heavy fuels, but they're diligent working away and have been for the past week in improving those lines. As we move down into Butte zone, the contingency work there has been phenomenal. A lot of great work in there, and they worked back past few days up towards Mill Creek so that they could give us some contingency lines. So if the fire were to come out, if any of those different drainages, that it gives us something to fall back on if need be. And we've had to utilize those lines as of yesterday when those fires started making a run across Deer Creek and is challenging us in the Mill Creek drainage. So we're prepared for that, and we're working closely with our timber company partnerships and utilizing a lot of the lines they've already established and put in, working closely with them to protect their assets and to give us a good strategic hold in that area. But it is going to be a challenge just due to the heavy fuels in there, topography, and the conditions that we're going to be facing weather-wise. For this operational period, our three top priorities on our fire is branch 15 up in this right shoulder of the fire that I've already spoken about. In predominantly, main focus is in sections 25 and 36 in that area. Our second priority is branch 20, focusing on the L line and the K line in particular, and that's where we're seeing a vast majority of our activity. And then our third priority is in branch 12, which is the top of the fire, and that's mainly south of Lanes Valley Road. So those are the three priorities for the day. Those are set by the input from the line leadership, and from there we are surging our resources to those areas as needed so that we can accomplish our objectives for the mission of the shift. Aircraft-wise, we have about the same amount of rotary aircraft, just over 40 rotary aircraft. We have two helibase established and a third one being established that we're utilizing as whenever they can fly. Again, our conditions with smoke conditions and weather have been not very conducive for that. However, we are flying them as much as we possibly can when we can. Night flying copters, we've had off and on success because of the conditions in flying them. However, when we can, we are using the night flying helicopters. Are using not only water dropping, but we have mobile retardant bases set up that they can dip out of and use retardant to support our lines and troops on the ground. Our fixed-wing aircraft, we weren't able to fly very much yesterday, again, due to smoke conditions. However, as conditions allow, we will be flying our fixed-wing aircraft that have been assigned to the incident. We also have received additional resources from out of state, as I've mentioned before, and we've actively engaged them starting yesterday, and they've come from the states of Texas, Utah, North Dakota, and Nevada at this point. So, and we also have additional that will be coming to our incident. Starting tomorrow, we'll be receiving the first of our force package from the California National Guard. They've been training up hand crews to assist us, and so they should be arriving tomorrow, and we'll be implementing them. And then early next week, we'll have another package of hand crews from the Guard that will be assisting us in our fire suppression efforts. I'm going to go over a few statistics that we have, so I'll kind of read through this and give you an update as to some of the things such as our acreage, structures damaged and lost, and our resources. So currently, the park incident is approximately 398,000 acres, 53,000 acres in Butte County, 345,000 acres in Tehama County. Overnight, the fire growth in the northeast corner of the incident, as I've explained, includes Deer Creek and Mill Creek drainages. Growth pushed this incident into the fourth largest incident in California's history and the second largest single ignition source incident. So it's unfortunately become a very historic fire in California's fire history. Currently, there are 6,400 personnel assigned to the incident, 124 hand crews, 542 engines, 91 dozers, 148 water tenders, and as I noted, there's 41 helicopters assigned to the incident. We have 11 what we call DINs, which are damage inspection teams that are in the field. These folks go out and assess any losses of structures, whether it be residential structures, commercial structures, or outbuildings. Currently, Butte County, 90% of the inspections have been completed. That equates to 1,332 inspected sites. There are 413 destroyed structures. 247 were single-family residences. We have 45 damaged structures and 874 structures with no damage, equaling 66% survival rate. So we wish that rate was higher, but in the overall scheme of things and with the intensity of this fire, that's a pretty good success rate. In Tehama County, 91% of the inspections are complete, 380 inspected sites, 129 destroyed structures, 71 of which were single-family residences, 5 damaged structures, and 246 structures with no damage, equaling 65% survival rate. So overall, totaling 90% complete of our inspections overall. That means 1,712 inspected sites, 542 destroyed structures, 318 of those were single-family residences. We have 50 damaged structures and 1,120 structures with no damage, and that equals a 65% survival rate. We are prepared for the potential weather conditions and upcoming fire conditions, as I've noted before. We have plans in place for our primary and attacking the fire right on the fire's edge, but we are also have our contingencies in play as well as tertiary lines, so that if the fire we do see the conditions that we saw as of a week ago or anything close to that we are prepared to take on the fire and have successes in the coming days.